Hello again everyone, and today I'm quite excited to be testing out what is actually the brightest aperture lens I have ever handled, one of the fastest on the market today. I'm looking at the manual focus Mitakon 35mm f/0.95. That's right, f/0.95. That's just over twice as fast as an f1.4 lens. It's for APS-C sensor mirrorless cameras, not for digital SLRs. And it's available new for $600, potentially a bit of a bargain. I'd like to thank Mitakon for sending me a sample of this lens for testing, although as usual this is a completely independent review. This standard lens is able to let in a huge amount of light to give you very fast shutter speeds and very strongly out of focus backgrounds. It can yield such a narrow depth of field that it's almost as if you're shooting on a full frame camera. Because of the way digital camera sensors are designed, it won't quite give you shutter speeds that are twice as fast as an f1.4 lens, but the depth of field certainly will be more than twice as narrow, yielding some very beautiful image with deeply out of focus backgrounds. This is the Mark II version of the lens, which features two key improvements over the original version. Firstly, it's much smaller and lighter, and secondly, it's supposed to be much sharper. We'll see how sharp it is in a moment. Let's take a look at the instrument itself first. It comes in a beautifully designed, small presentation case, one of the nicest I've seen. It fits very snugly in there. It comes with front and rear lens caps, but no lens hood. Let's hope it doesn't have any serious problems catching bright lights. The lens is made of metal, making it very nice and solid, and it weighs a little over 400 grams, or just under a pound. There's a lot of glass in there. However, as you can also see, it's fairly small, which makes it nice and portable. The front filter thread is a small 55mm. It's a completely manual lens, manual focus and manual aperture. The lens's main control feature is the focus ring with hyperfocal scale, which is just about precise enough for accurate focusing, and it turns very smoothly indeed, being well damped. In front of the focus ring lies the aperture control ring, unusually at the top of the lens. It turns completely smoothly from f/0.95 down to a dark f/16, and as you can see, the 9 iris blades respond nicely. Most still photographers would prefer to have an aperture ring with clicks in it to prevent accidental turning, but video makers may prefer to have the clickless aperture system. And, well, that's basically it. A nice, small, simple lens. You will have to practice manually focusing a little bit to get the best results out of it, but modern cameras have a lot of features such as peaking to help you out, so it's not something I've had a problem with myself. So the Mitakon is built well and could potentially get you some very pretty pictures. How sharp is it though? Can it really be used at f/0.95? Let's see as we test it on a 24 megapixel Fuji X T2. At f/0.95, I'm pleased to say that, in the middle of the image frame, there's quite a sharp sweet spot with very good resolution and just a touch of purple fringing. Excellent. Over in the corners, unsurprisingly, at such a fast aperture, we see a lot of softness. But then again, when you're getting portrait pictures at such wide apertures, you hardly need corner sharpness. At f1.4, there's a touch more clarity, and back in the middle we have an extremely sharp image, with a boost in contrast levels. At f2, the middle is still great, and the corners, well, still pretty soft. However, at f2.8, we're seeing much better clarity and contrast. At f4, corner resolution is very good, and at f5.6, it's excellent, with just a touch of purple colour fringing. The image stays this sharp all the way down to f11. So, the Mitakon 35mm f/0.95 gives us what we need. Very usable image quality at f/0.95 in the middle of the image, where it's needed, and sharpness from corner to corner from about f4 or f5.6 to make it useful for other applications too. So I'm pretty happy with its performance. Well then, let's see about vignetting and distortion now. The lens projects a moderate barrel distortion, more than I would want to see, but nothing too disturbing. At f0.95 we see some gentle vignetting, which will be noticeable in your pictures, but really those corners are brighter than I thought they would be. In fact, even at f1.4 the vignetting is pushed right away into the edges, and at f2 it's gone. So a slightly weak show for distortion, but a fairly good performance for corner brightness. Let's see about close-up image quality then. The lens can get as close as 30 cm from your subject, but the picture quality at this distance will be a bit soft. Remember though, the depth of field at this magnification and aperture will be tiny. Stop down to f1.4 for, well, a major improvement actually, and from f2 we see excellent sharpness close up. Let's see how this extremely bright aperture lens works against extremely bright lights. Well, it's a shame that no lens hood is supplied here, as the Mitakon really struggles, showing a lot of flaring. Finally, bokeh. Obviously, this lens is designed to get you some very out of focus backgrounds, so how well are they rendered? On the whole, the bokeh is rendered very smoothly actually. Whether your background is deeply out of focus, or even when the drawing distance isn't so far. I'm very satisfied with the bokeh this lens produces. So, the Mitakon 35mm f0.95 Mark II is not only a very usable lens with satisfactory technical image quality, it's a lens that really does yield quite beautiful images. If you're happy to use manual focus, then the odds are that you'll be delighted with this piece of kit, especially as it also manages to be small and practical. It makes you feel just like you're using a fast 50mm lens on a full frame camera, but with even faster shutter speeds, so you can't really go wrong with that. Despite a couple of little quirks, the Mitakon 35mm f0.95 Mark II is lovely, and I can happily recommend it.